Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Sina Alamdari, and today I want to share with you my research in defending my bachelor's thesis. As you can see, the title is Developing Teamwork Competency Through the Escape Room, and my supervisor was dear Dr. Ibrahim Alizadeh. You might wonder, why did I choose this particular topic? It actually comes from the concept of leadership. When the concept of leadership was introduced 40 years ago, actually was expanded 40 years ago. The researchers to discover and develop leadership competences started. In this case, Similar and Murray, in their research in 2013, discovered 60 leadership competences in students. There are many ways to develop these competencies, such as 360-degree feedback. But the method of interest in the last decade, actually from 2012, is educational escape room, which is used in areas such as nursing education and English for English students, actually. What we discovered was that there's a big lack of research in the area of competency development through the escape room, leadership competency development through the escape room. So in this case, for that, we got to this topic, developing teamwork as one of the leadership competencies through the educational escape room. Okay, as we mentioned before, there is a big lack of, as we mentioned before, there's a big lack of research in the area of developing leadership competencies through educational escape room. So we only found 2 researchers in this area. We searched in a lot of websites, but all we could find was 2 researchers in this area. And the funny fact is that both of them are from 2021, which shows how new this field is. One is assessing escape room as a teaching strategy for leadership competency development, and the other one is the effectiveness of digital escape room games to deliver leadership training. So in order to evaluate the competency, teamwork competency, we found a teamwork scale from a Spencer book from 1993, which on the left column, you can see the level of teamwork. And on the right column, you can find behavioral description. Actually, the A is the intensity of fostering teamwork, which starts from A-1, which is uncooperative, disruptive, and causes trouble. And it goes down to A7, which is the person can resolve conflicts. He can bring conflict within the team into the open and encourages, facilitates a beneficial resolution of conflicts. And there's a fact that we must say, and it's that this action, this should be involving an action. Otherwise, it's not resolving any conflicts. In order to get A7, which is resolves conflicts, it must be an action. It's not in the mind. The conflict should be real, and we should resolve it in real action. So this is the path that we took in this research. The first phase was that we selected an evaluator we conducted the first interview, which was in a star technique. It had the first interview had two parts. The first one was playing a movie, or as we better call it, a TV show. We played a scene from Prison Break, and we asked the person, what would you do if you were in Michael's shoes in this situation? And when he answered, we went to the second part and we asked questions from real experience. Have you been in a teamwork situation that was involved conflicts? What did you do in that situation to resolve that conflict? After that, our evaluator scored each person on his or her answers to first and second parts of the interview. The second phase was that we had our training session 1, which we explained types of performances in teamwork, as you could see in a Spencer scale. We gave some examples, some theoretical examples, and some examples from movies again, from Prison Break, and some from Ted Lasso TV show from 2020, which involved teamwork situations. And then we gave them a homework. So the homework was an entire episode from Prison Break, and we asked them to break it down into these types of performances in teamwork. For example, say that the thing that T-Bag in that situation did, was it a -1? Was it a 0? What was it? And then we had our training sessions second. In the third phase, we had a second interview. Again, it involved two parts. One, asking a situation from a movie, and the second one, asking a real life experience, which was, have you been a leader of a team? How did you manage things as a leader? This second interview was to measure the effectiveness of a training course. And then we went to the fourth phase, which was taking the experimental group to the escape room. After that, we went to the fifth phase, which was the third interview, and it was to measure the effect of escape room. There were no movies, and it's because of that our evaluator came up with a hypothetical teamwork scenario with a lot of questions. The scenario was something like this. Your teacher has told you that the next session you have the class, and you can represent a topic individually or in a group. It's your call. What would you do in this situation from 0 to 100? What would you do to make your represent a great work? And by the answers to this hypothetical teamwork scenario, our evaluator scored for each person. And there was no movie because the movie is itself a scenario, so it wasn't needed in this situation. We had a hypothetical scenario. And in the last step, in the last phase, we had the self-assessment, which we wanted to know how each person has evaluated his or her change through our research. So when the phase is finished, we put all the data into SPSS, and we ran a repeated measure ANOVA, which, as you can see in the red circle, it didn't show significance. So because of that, we ran a dependent t-test as well for, first interview and second interview, second interview and third interview, and first interview and third interview. And for none of them, the results showed significance. We had some limitations, of course. The first one was the nature of sample. Our sample was students, and because of that, they did not have practical experiences. So we couldn't ask them real life experiences that much. As you could see in the third interview, we had to come up with a hypothetical scenario. We couldn't ask them that much of real life experiences. The second limitation was the scenario, and no escape room was willing to provide a complete scenario with details. So there were no ways we could be sure that the scenario was actually measuring the variable that we wanted. The third limitation was the sample size, which was low due to corona conditions. Okay, in this part, I want to say that my results were different from previous researches. It might be because of the change of the evaluator after the first interview, which I think wasn't really good for the results. But we had no choice. He had a lot of things to do, so we had to change the evaluator for the second and third interviews. Or these different results might be because of different variables. Actually, we were measuring teamwork. We were developing teamwork, and none of the previous researchers had worked on this particular variable. And the third one might be a no scenario thing that we talked about. They didn't give us any scenario, so there were no way we could know that we are actually measuring the variable that we were working on. Using of escape room in our way to develop competency, it didn't work, didn't show significance. But there are some recommendations for effectiveness. First is related scenarios. The scenario must be related to the variable that you're measuring. And the second one was hierarchical scenarios over a longer period of time. A period of time must be something like 3 months, and you have to take the experimental group to the escape room every week, and the scenarios must get hard every time. They must be hierarchical. And the third one is that we need to have an instructor in the escape room every time. Maybe from digital cameras would do. They have to monitor, they have to take notes, and they have to give feedbacks in order this process to work. And at last, we have our team here. I want to appreciate my supervisor, Dr. Ibrahim Alizadeh, for helping me through this hard and frustrating, actually, research. I learned a lot from him, and I'm really happy that I did this research, because it was a new field. that not a lot of people have worked on it. Second, I want to thank dear Mr. Zori, the first evaluator of our research. And second, I want to thank our second evaluator, Ms. Saina Mogaddasi, for evaluating our second and third interview. And that's it, guys, for today. And if you have any questions, just email me.